What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Bears Capital Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the 53-man projected roster. I'm going to go through what I think the 53-man roster will look like. And, let's get started. So at quarterback, obviously I'm going to have Mitchell Trubisky and Nick Foles in no particular order. They will battle it out in preseason which probably will get shortened, but so we'll see how that affects it. But those two will definitely battle it out. The Bears usually keep Tyler Bray on the practice squad too, so he's there just in case as well. All right, at running back, I have them keeping 3, and it's David Montgomery, Tariq Cohen, and Ryan Nall. I thought about, maybe having them put 4. I could very well see them putting 4 or keeping 4, but these 3 are very solid. Montgomery's due for a breakout season, I think. Cohen, he's still an effective, running the ball and passing. And Ryan Nall, he's underrated. I think he can play the fullback role a little bit. And also, take some runs at halfback. But, pretty good running backs for the Bears as of right now. Moving on to wide receiver, I have them keeping 7. Now, this is probably a lot, but I'm keeping Allen Robinson, Anthony Miller, Ted Ginn, Javon Wims, Riley Ridley, Cordero Patterson, and Darnell Mooney, the rookie. So 7 might be a lot here, but they're very stacked at wide receiver, and they're trying to find the Taylor Gabriel replacement, I think, and all 7 of these guys, I can't see one of them getting cut, especially because Javon Wims and Riley Ridley were recent draft picks. Darnell Mooney's a rookie. Cordero Patterson helps out on special teams. Ted Ginn, Anthony Miller, and Allen Robinson are all gonna play. So, the wide receivers, I think 7 makes sense. I expect them to keep 7 unless something like a major cut happens, which I don't think will. And, so 7 at the wide receiver position. Some breakout candidates there. Expect Anthony Miller to have a good year again, or jump from last season. Javon Wims, I think he could have a good season. Probably split time with Ted Ginn, I'm guessing. Riley Ridley might be the same as 2. He could break out and get some reps in that wide receiver too. Darnell Mooney, I don't expect him to play a lot this year. Maybe he might be a special teams guy, but I think he could potentially play special teams this year, maybe play a lot more next year. So that's the wide receiver depth chart. Tight ends, I have them keeping 4, which are Jimmy Graham, Cole Kmet, Demetrius Harris, and Ben Braunecker. So we could have kept 5. I just don't see them keeping 5. J.P. Holtz is good. If you're wondering why he's not on the list, I think he'll be a practice squad guy. He was last year, and he can definitely, if someone gets hurt, come up and be a great special teams player too. He's great at that, and even at regular tight end, he's good at that too. But Jimmy Graham, was added in the offseason. Some question the move, but he'll probably be tight end 1. I'm guessing. Maybe it could be Cole Kmet too, but Nagy's offense uses a lot of tight ends, and they have 2. Cole Kmet and Jimmy Graham. Now Adam Shaheen isn't on this list. I just don't see them keeping him. I think the ship has sailed for him. I could be wrong. I probably will be wrong. I just don't see them keeping him, in my opinion. But next is Demetrius Harris, who was added in the offseason. He'll make the team. He's a solid player. And Ben Braunecker is a special teams guy who, played a lot to injuries last year. He did play a lot, but a solid player. And, yeah. Moving on to offensive linemen, the starting five, Cody Whitehair, James Daniels, Charles Leno, Bobby Massey, Rashad Coward. Rashad Coward, I think, will play that right guard spot. And the other four are expected to start. And I think, Rashad Coward will probably play that right guard role. I think he's gotten high praise from Juan Costello. He likes the versatility of he used to play defensive tackle. Rashad Coward, I think he could be a solid right guard, but if not, Germain Ifedi's on the bench. Let's finish off the bench here. I have him keeping 3 on the bench, which it adds up to 8 overall. Eight offensive linemen overall, and those 3 I have them on the bench are Germain Ifedi, Jason Spriggs, and Alex Bars. Now, Ifedi could come and then play right guard. I could see it happening. He's a solid player, or I think the Bears think he's going to be a solid player someday. He struggled with the Seahawks a little bit, but, I think Juan Costello, the offensive line coach, will be a big help in helping him become a better offensive lineman. Then Jason Spriggs, we signed him. Good tackle depth if Massey or Leno gets hurt. Pretty good player. Alex Bars, he's a little bit underrated. I feel like he's a little bit of a dark horse to start at right guard. He's a great player. He was on the practice squad a lot of last year, and he definitely could start. But yeah, I have him keeping 8 offensive linemen, and all definitely a position the Bears need to work on. But we'll see how that goes. Moving over to the defensive side of the ball, we'll start at defensive line. I have the Bears keeping 6 defensive linemen. Those 6 are Akeem Hicks, Eddie Goldman, Roy Robertson Harris, Bilal Nichols, Brent Urban, and John Jenkins. So let's start. Obviously, Akeem Hicks, Eddie Goldman, our 2-star defensive linemen. No surprise there. Roy Robertson Harris and Bilal Nichols, I think they'll compete, or they'll split playing time at that position. But they're 2 great players, and it's a good problem to have. But, the other 2, Brent Urban is a good backup. He was with us. We signed him last year. He was with us. It's a solid backup. And then John Jenkins we signed this offseason, who's a pretty good player. He's a former Bear back in, I think, 2017, maybe 2016. He's a former Bear, and, probably good defensive tackle depth that I could see them keeping. So, 6 defensive linemen, and, look good at that position. Outside linebacker, I have them keeping 5, and those 5 are Khalil Mack, Robert Quinn, Travis Gibson, Isaiah Irving, and Barkevius Mingo. So, obviously Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn will start, and kind of behind them, we're looking for depth here, and it'll be interesting to see who will be, maybe to sub in at that, maybe be like last year and the year before that's Aaron Lynch, but maybe play a little bit better and get some reps in sometimes when those other 2 guys get tired. It'll be interesting to see, but new draft pick Travis Gibson could be that guy. They drafted him in the 5th round. They traded up for him, so they probably have a plan for him. I could see that happening. Isaiah Irving's been with the team for this will be his 3rd year. And he's a, decent player. He hasn't been on the field a lot, but when he has, he's shown great ability to get after the quarterback. And then Barkevious Mingo, we signed him. I think he'll be mostly a special teams guy who could get some reps at edge rusher, but mainly a special teams guy. He's good at blocking punts. He blocked one last year with the Texans against the Chiefs in that playoff game. He's good at that. Mainly a special teams guy, but yeah, at outside linebacker, we'll keep 5. At inside linebacker, I only have them keeping 4. I think they kept 4 last year too. Those 4 are Roquan Smith, Danny Trevathan, Joel Iggy. That's his shortened name. I don't know how to say his full name. And then Josh Woods. So Roquan Smith and Danny, we know them. They're going to, have another great seasons. Now, behind it, last year they had Nick Kwiatkowski and Kevin Pierre-Louis, 2 great players who stepped up when both of these guys got hurt, Roquan and Danny. This year they're both gone, so I think Joel Iggy could potentially break out this season. He could step in and play, take Roquan or Danny's spot if they get hurt, I think. And great, I think he hasn't gotten a lot of attention. Middle linebacker over the years has been stacked, especially when Kwiatkowski and Kevin were on the team. But I think this is Joel's year. He's a prove-it year. And, don't sleep on Josh Woods either. He's a solid player. We've seen him in the preseason. He had that fumble, like that first preseason game against the Panthers. Great players, and those 2 looking to step up, I think they can. At corner, I have them keeping 6 corners, which are Kyle Fuller, Jalen Johnson, Buster Screen, Kevin Tolliver, Trey Roberson, and Kendall Vildor. Now, this is a lot. Some players I kept off the list were Artie Burns and Duke Shelley. Little 2 surprises there. I'll get into that in a little bit. But obviously, I think Kyle Fuller is the number 1 corner. Then we have a little bit of a battle for the number 2 corner, with Jalen Johnson, Kevin Tolliver, and Trey Roberson. But I think Jalen Johnson will win that. The rookie, the 2nd-round pick we picked. Jalen Johnson, I think he could easily win that job. Buster Screen is a great nickelback. I think, he's decent. I think he's got Buster Screen hasn't really shined. He hasn't made any big plays yet, but expect that maybe this season. Big prove-it year for him, especially when because we drafted Kendall Vildor in the 5th round, who is a pretty good slot corner. He was from Georgia Southern. He's young and looking to maybe steal a spot in the roster. But Kevin Tolliver and Trey Roberson, I could see them battling it out for the number 2 corner position. Tolliver had a good season last year, filling in for Prince Amukamara. He locked down Amari Cooper that Cowboys game. And Trey Roberson from the CFL, I could see him making an impact too. One of the best players in the CFL coming over, joining the Bears. So it should be interesting. I did decide to cut on my list. I kept Artie Burns and Duke Shelley off the list. Artie, struggled a lot with the Steelers. We drafted Kendall Vildor, who's you can't put on practice squad. We could, but he'll probably get picked up. So Artie, I just don't see him. I mean, he did pretty bad with the Steelers. I really don't see them keeping him, but I could be wrong. This is my opinion. I know he's young. He has a lot of upside, but I just don't see him keeping him. There's a lot of other guys on the team at cornerback with upside, and I just don't think he'll make the team. Duke Shelley, it's weird because he was probably gonna fill that role at slot corner maybe if Buster Skrine were to leave, but they drafted Vildor. So that probably says something that, they drafted Duke Shelley 2018 with the sixth pick, or in the 6th round, and they maybe thought that he might someday come in and play slot corner. I think with drafting Kendall Vildor, they said that ship has sailed. I think Kendall Vildor and Duke Shelley could battle it out in preseason, but I think we all know that Vildor will probably win, and they'll probably go with the rookie. But, Duke Shelley, it's a good problem to have. We have a lot of good corners. Duke Shelley, unfortunately, I don't think will be kept on the team. And look, guys, this is my opinion. Duke Shelley's young. He could easily make the team. I just don't get the whole how he fits on the team when we have, we'll have 3 slot corners on the team. I think we drafted Vildor. So I just don't see room for Duke Shelley. But, I could be wrong again, but that's just my opinion. So I do have the Bears keeping 6 cornerbacks overall. And, let's move on to safety. Eddie Jackson, Tashawn Gibson, Deion Bush, Jordan Lucas, and Sherrick McManus will all make the team. That's 5. I'm keeping 5. Eddie Jackson and Tashawn Gibson will likely start. Deion Bush will be a good backup safety. And I think the other 2, Jordan Lucas and Sherrick McManus, will be good special teams guys who can also step in and play, pretty good at safety. I have him cutting DeAndre Houston Carson. He kind of plays that gunner role or not gunner role. He's like behind, forgive me, I don't know what this calls. I definitely should. Behind the long snapper on punts, but to the right a little bit. I can't think of the term right now, but Jordan Lucas played that role in Kansas City, so I think DeAndre Houston Carson I don't think saw the field at all last year on playing safety, and Jordan Lucas has played some decent safety. He has gotten solid interception numbers early on in his career, so I see Jordan Lucas being a replacement for him. And then Sherrick McManus, I think, is a pure special teams guy. Great player, and for a long time for the Bears, and so I'm keeping 5 safeties overall. And now it's special teams. At kicker, I have the Bears keeping Eddie Pinheiro. I could see Ramiz Ahmed, who they signed, making a decent competition for him, but for now I think Eddie will make it. And then a punter, we have Pat O'Donnell. No competition there. It's going to be Pat. And then long snapper, we have Pat Scales. And, so that's the 53-man roster. Let me know in the comments what you think. Any changes you would make to mine. That'll do it for this episode of the Bears Capital Podcast. Like and subscribe. And, bear down.